Everyone has a beginning, some place where their lives began, the place where they first laid down their head, the first place where memories were made, the first place they called home. And this is mine. This is where the first house I ever lived stood. This is where my life began. While the house itself is no longer standing, the memories that were made there still remain. I'd like to share some of these with you. So come along with me, and let's travel back in time to the first 5 years of my life, starting in 1982. Back to the first house I ever lived in. I was born on March 21st, 1982, in Kirkwood, Missouri. After a few days in the hospital, my parents brought me home here, 217 South Virginia Avenue in Eureka, Missouri. A tiny little 3-room house that they rented from the neighbor. It wasn't the biggest house, or even the most up-to-date, but it was home. We lived in this house until I was 5 years old. I know I have some memories, though, going back as early as 2. Thinking back now, they're like I'm looking through a foggy window. Some details are hard to make out, but I can see figures, shadows, and even some colors. I remember playing outside with the kids that Mom used to babysit. Mom babysat 4 other kids to make extra money, and of course it gave me friends to play with. There was Gordon and Edlina Kitson, Melody, who I called Mimi, she lived next door, and Sarah McKeever, my best friend. I remember sitting outside with her and having McDonald's and drinking Pepsi out of Mom's glass, and I also remember sitting on blankets, having picnics underneath the tree that was in the front yard. I even remember trying to climb that tree with the help from my dad, and it wasn't easy, that's for sure. We even had a swing set in the backyard that we used to play on, and it was my favorite thing to do. And we also had a small kiddie pool for summertime, and I always looked forward to when Dad would get it ready for us to swim in. Now, as far as the inside of the house goes, this is where my memories got kind of fuzzy. I had to ask my dad to help clarify how the rest of the house was laid out, and I didn't remember a lot of details, but I do have some memories. I can remember walking in the front door to the living room and seeing the couch straight ahead and the brown carpet below me. The couch was a fold-out couch, but it was very soft. I used to unscrew the decorative pieces, and I used to trace my fingers around the corkscrew legs. Us kids would have pillow fights with those little pillows there. And I also remember laying in front of the door with my blanket sometimes. Now from the living room, if you turn right and go down the little hallway, you will run right into the middle of the very small kitchen. And I do mean small. There was barely enough room to walk, much less cook. And even the laundry was set up in the kitchen, which made it even smaller. From there, you would go out the back door to the back porch. Now, that door was very dangerous. My mom's friend actually broke her fingers in the door, so we had to be very careful. And since the kitchen was so small, we'd spend a lot of time outside barbecuing, and I remember helping my dad do this. I remember standing in front of that little grill with that brush, basting that food. I always loved helping my dad, and this was such a great memory. Now, if you go back to the hallway and then turn right from the living room, you'll have the bathroom that is on the left, and then straight ahead you'll have the one bedroom that we had that my mom, dad, and I all slept in. I can remember peeking over the crib at my parents while they were sleeping when I was little, and I remember needing the Weather Channel on the TV to help me fall asleep at night. The music was so soothing. When I was 2, things changed drastically. My papa came to live with us. He used to sleep on the pull-out couch in the living room. I really enjoyed the time I got to spend with my papa. He showed me how to play the harmonica. He would walk me to the bus stop once I started school, and we would have breakfast together every morning. I was his sweetie pie. I know life isn't always perfect, and sometimes bad things happen. While there were good memories in that house, there were rough ones too. Well, it's to be expected with that many people crammed into such a small house. Well, then you add alcohol into the mix, and, well, that's just a recipe for disaster. Sadly, I've got lots of memories of fights and sleepless nights. And as much as I don't want to think about it, it's something I can't erase. And I mention it now because my life experiences made me who I am today, the good ones and the bad ones. It's taken me a while to get where I am today, but every day I'm learning more and more about myself. One thing I know had to do with us living right next to the town ball fields. You know those tall lights that they have to light up the baseball fields at night? I was so scared of them, and I don't know why. And I think that still stems today. I still have fears of lights and signs and electrical towers, and it's something I still deal with today. When I was 5, we had to find another place to live because the owners wanted to tear down the house and put up a garage. And that's the garage that is standing today. I don't remember much of the moving process, but I do remember going back to the house one last time to pick up Mom's cat and looking at the empty rooms thinking, wow, nothing was left. Not long after we moved, the house was gone. There isn't much left that was original, except for Dad's old shed that he built. It's actually still standing today in the back of the property. It's weird thinking back to that time in my life. It's all like a dream, like a different life. Sometimes, though, if I think hard enough and look through pictures, it's like I was there yesterday. But here it's been 32 years since I walked up those stairs and into the house of my childhood. But there comes a time when you have to move on. You have to say goodbye to certain memories, certain experiences, certain times in your life, but they will live on forever in your heart.